Hi, everyone. It's Arthur here at Arthur Ease Your Mind on YouTube. And yes, I'm a psychic, intuitive, whatever you want to call me. I just make it up and hope it happens. So I'm a psychic. Yeah, we'll go with that. How's that tonight? Hope everyone's doing great. Really, thank you for stopping by. It's Sunday. It's the, let's see what, it's the 20th. And it's about 3:36 here in Los Angeles. And the weather's been really pretty here. It's in the 70s. And I hope everyone is doing great and wonderful. Also, a great big shout out to all the subscribers, the new, the old, and the soon to be, as well as members. Thank you for being here. And also the moderators, as well as we have Sherry and Walter in the background helping me with questions. Because as you know, I can't do this on my own. I can barely walk, talk, and chew gum, let alone do readings at the same time. So that's why I have them here. And I owe them dinners. But anyway, it's been crazy. Everything's been nuts. But before we go on, I'll just go through some of the housekeeping, as it's called. First of all, you've heard me talking about the creating good karma, how to feng shui your car. I finally got it up. It's on there. So if you want to learn how to feng shui your car, it's real simple. That's up there. Also, we are going into Mercury retrograde. We are in Mercury retrograde until the 11th of August. You may want to stop by and listen to, I have a guided meditation called Embracing Mercury Retrograde. So this is a time where you don't buy the big ticket items, but you do all the due diligence. You don't write the new contracts. I mean, you write the new contracts, but you don't sign any contracts unless it's something you've already been working on before we went to retrograde. This is the time where it forces us to slow down and basically cross your T's, dot your I's. This is a great time for back paperwork, for back taxes, balancing checkbooks, all that kind of fun stuff. It's stuff that's already started, but as far as starting something completely brand new, you may want to wait until the 11th on that, okay? So that's that. Also, as I've been talking, I do Valerie from Dragonfly Crystals and I do a once a month deep dive with 10 people. And our next one is September 13th at 3:30. Go to dragonflycrystals.store and you can sign up for that. I think 2 people have already signed up for it for September. August is completely booked. So that'll be fun. Also, everyone keeps on asking me, what can I do? What can I do with all the craziness in the government and, with the Orange Menace, etc. So I've always been saying, go to I spelled it wrong, 5calls.org without an E. And they will help you. There, I just corrected it. 5calls.org. They will get you to your representative's office, give you phone numbers, give you addresses, email addresses, snail mail addresses, has templates of what to say and who to say it to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, that doesn't float your boat. You can always try the Congressional Switchboard at 202-224-3121. And just don't call once. I do this almost on a daily basis. I'm a pain in the ass for them. Yay. And also, I've always talked about Goods Unite Us. It's an Apple Android app which tells you who in the zoo donates to who. So it's shocking to find out that some of your favorite companies are going who they donate to. And I no longer shop at several places. So I like to know where my money's going. But also, there's also Election Truth Alliance about the election, truthalliance.org. Talks about what's going on. I believe Sherry was saying they just updated their website and stuff. So if you find out what's going on regarding all the election stuff. And of course, if you need to get a hold of me, if I'm not on the sandwich board sign on the street, it's arthureaseyourmind.com. Also, we're doing politics tonight. And everyone is really doing well with putting all the questions in caps. It's gotten so well that you're even sending me emails and putting everything in caps. Overachievers, thank you. It's one thing on a chat. It's because I'm old and blind, and have cataract. But when I get my emails, all of a sudden it's like they're screaming at me. Oh my god! You don't have to scream at me. I scream at myself enough. So anyway, consider my guides. Stupid, stupid. But anyway, that's how we talk. So, okay, we've got lots and lots of questions, lots of topics. Everything from something about Jeffrey Epstein. Is that his name? With some files or lists, and Ghislaine Maxwell and others, and somebody's swollen ankles, and yeah, a lot going on here. So anyway, so I'm going to turn the questions over to my co-pilots, and we're going to take it from there. All right. So let me get this banner down because it can be distracting. Mystical Magic, love your show. Thank you, and I love you too. And when I say I love you guys, it's not just being, oh, I love you guys, like a drunk frat boy, which I've never been. I've been drunk, but that's another story. But I believe this is dealing with on the Midas Touch, Anadol. She talks about Dianadol, rather. She talks about where the Colorado, they went. The DOJ went to Colorado and asked for their to look at their voting machines, and this is now. And then apparently there's 10 other states that they've done this to, and they're not letting them see the voting machines. So is this a precursor to they're going to try and mess up the 2026 midterms? They can try. It's not going to happen. Okay. In fact, I believe this may backfire in all their faces. Whenever I look at this, it's always like, when I guess it's the Roadrunner, when the Wile E. Coyote lights up a cigar and it blows up in his face. That's what all this is. Okay. And also, as I've been mentioning, I've mentioned a couple shows now, I just love the term weapons of mass distraction. That's what all this is. It's a wonderful little film. You can, I think you can find it on YouTube. But that's all this is, and it's not going to happen. I do not see that they're going to be able to get into the machines and stuff like that like they had before. Okay. So, will the Wall Street Journal prevail in the defamation lawsuit? Do they have more evidence linking Trump to Epstein? Thanks, Arthur. As some of you know, I did work as a reporter for 13 years, and every time we would write something for the magazine, it would go to the lawyers would read everything. And that's where I learned the term when lawyers would say, you don't write stories. Stories are made up. You write articles. So they're not made up. So what the Wall Street Journal had was an article. They're not going to release anything without the evidence, without the actual, they've seen it. They have a copy of it, of what, the way they described it, of what Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday, that Ghislaine Maxwell went to different people, and even Alan Dershowitz said, yeah, he did it. He wrote it, and others, they approached other people that said, yeah, we did it. The only one that said they didn't is basically Trump. So, and then he turned around and is suing the Wall Street Journal for like $1 billion or something. Yeah, that kind of like shows you, it's like, okay, he's nuts. So, entertainment purposes only. But yeah, I see that he's just, they're not going to cave to Trump like he thinks everybody else will. It's not like you're Paramount and CBS right now. This is the Wall Street Journal. Okay. And the parent companies and all that other stuff involved, and individual editors and reporters, all that kind of stuff. There's a plethora of people this would have to go through before they released the statement. Also, Trump said, they called him and he said they were going to sue, which they made part of the article. And the boss is here. They're coming to take me away. I'm afraid that somebody's hanging their horn out there. But at the same time, they're not going to. They even said, "Oh, he was threatening to sue us." So if they know they're being threatened to sue and they're still going to publish the article, they've got the goods. They're not going to just nilly-willy say, "Oh, yeah, we didn't really have it. We just made it up," or it's on hearsay. No, they're going to see it. And then they say, supposedly, Trump did a doodle or something, or and he said, "I don't do doodles," or whatever it is. Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody just released the whole thing of him doing, with a Sharpie, what cities look like in his eye and stuff like that. So yeah, it's true, people. Fact is always stranger than fiction sometimes. But thank you for that wonderful question. Suzette, when Trump is gone, is the nightmare over? I.e., do the Nazis, Stephen Miller, have any power without Trump? What about gerrymandering and redistricting? What happens to torture detention centers? Yeah. Well, the thing is, in all honesty, I've always said, he's not going to be around. I don't know. He's not going to be president. He's not going to be a president. Put that. Even Jimmy Carter said he was an illegitimate president. So I don't feel him as we get into 2026 wielding any sort of power. That's when I feel he'll be in a facility of some sort. And at that point, Stephen Miller, yeah, he's. Let's just hope the big beautiful Bill is the name of his cellmate, and we'll take it from there. But and they just released Stephen Miller when he was high school, talking about how torture. It's. I mean, it was like so Animal Farm in 1984, where torture is basically it's a human. It shows human dignity, or something like that. It was just so bizarre. This guy's like, maybe the worm went from JFK, not JFK, but Robert Kennedy. I don't know. The guy has no brain. So it's just, or heart. I mean, he's just like Trump without, like all the characters from The Wizard of Oz, no heart, no brain, no courage. Because, I mean, he seems like the guy that stands behind everybody. Do my work, dirty work for me. He's not going to get his hands dirty. But anyway, as far as the gerrymandering, they're trying in Texas already. They're trying to, redistrict everything, and Jasmine Crockett's right on top of that. So they're going to try, but they're going to get away with it. But is nightmare going to go away? Eventually, yes. Eventually, yes. We wake up and say, "Oh my God, we lived through that," and then hopefully the government comes up with some hotlines for all of us who have post-traumatic stress disorder from all of this. That would be fun. But yeah, it's going to eventually the nightmare. We wake up from it. Yeah, like there's no place like home. Hi, Moon Whisperer. I am so upset at what Mango Mussolini did to Colbert. Our freedom of speech is being taken away. Comedians can't even make jokes. Will we lose Colbert and his show in 26, or can we fight it? I feel the show is going to be canceled. However, that doesn't mean Stephen Colbert would be canceled. That doesn't mean other people are going to be canceled. It's just that the whole thing with Colbert, I did a deep dive with Carrie on Friday about this, and I kept on feeling that it had to do with the merger between Paramount and Skywalk, Sky something, another company, to merge, and so it's the Trump administration. They have to prove it, and so I feel they're doing all this to make Daddy happy. Isn't that sickening that a lot of the MAGA people are now calling Trump Daddy? Yeah. But I like Big Daddy and, Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, I guess. But, the mendacity of it all. But, it's just, I do feel that, and there's other questions here I saw about Colbert. Colbert's not going to be canceled as a person. That show may be canceled, but it's going to make him even more famous afterwards. I feel he may take a little time off, but then he's going to get contracts. He's going to be doing stuff on his own. And it's kind of like when Jon Stewart walked away a little bit and then he came back with a vengeance. That's what Colbert's going to do. I mean, it's not like he just came onto into our existence. I mean, he's been around for over 20 years doing what he does, and he's great at what he does. And, he speaks truth, but he's going to be okay, people. He will survive. Will we ever find out Felon's medical diagnosis? Eventually. Eventually. I feel, I mean, the fact that they're saying it's just, it's something about his, his heart and his veins, As I always said, I'm surprised you have to have a heart for this to happen. So, but at the same time, we will find out. I feel it's going to be, it may be hush hush for a little bit, all the details, but eventually it's all going to come out, and I don't know. MAGA, will they believe it? That's another story. But, first we had Children of the Corn. Now we have MAGA, I guess. But, it's all the same. But we will find out. Okay. When will this S show going to end and life is not about politics every day? I miss the days when government was not a reality TV show. Yeah, so do I. There will be a day when it's not. I mean, do you remember when Biden was in? It wasn't every day something like, not every day he woke up going WTF, with explanation points after it. And like, he did what? We didn't have that with Biden or with Obama, really. It's just, this is what happens when people vote in a reality TV show host. And it's, the whole thing is like, he brings in Dr. Oz in charge of Medicaid and all that kind of stuff. He says, people have to prove that they're worthy of Medicaid. The guy was just a TV person, and he was a scammer at that, entertainment purposes only, but, he was. The same thing when he said, Kristi Noem's are doing a great job. She was the first one on TV after the floods. It's like, she shouldn't have been on TV. She should be down in the floods helping people and signing, FEMA money away instead of waiting 72 hours. So yeah, it's eventually it does go away. It may take about 2 years, but it's going to happen, people. So we have faith. We have to have faith. And that's why I always say, don't get caught up in all the craziness. Don't, like every day is another Chicken Little day where the sky's falling. No, it's not. That's what they want you to believe. Again, using the term weapons of mass destruction. We don't want to go there. Okay? But thanks, Heather. Hi, Arthur. Will the Senate vote Emil Blvd to the Federal Appeals Court? If so, can and will he be removed when the regime is gone? Thank you. CC Sassy. I've often said, with the way things are going these days, it's an odd or even day. I'll get a different reading for each day. But at this point, if he gets in, it's razor thin. I'm not feeling gets in, but if he does, it's like, let's install a revolving door, because he's going to be leaving as soon as he's in there, because everything's going to change. Okay. This is the guy that told the lawyers at the DOJ to lie basically to the judges about all the immigration stuff. Moon Whisperer, why aren't these stations fighting back? Why didn't they protect Colbert and The Late Show? What happened to our freedom of speech? Colbert only has until next May. Will it really be over? I feel the show will be over in the way that we know it, but something else will be coming back with him. The thing is, why are the stations fighting? Because the stations are doing what they can do to make the petulant God King happy. Because, and don't forget, most of the stations are owned by, oligarchs, and they want to make money. They want to make, their leader happy, so that they can make money and get tax breaks. But like I said, this whole thing with Colbert, I mean, Lucille Ball's probably rolling in a grave right now, because she used to own Paramount. So Paramount's one of the parent companies of CBS. So we'll see what happens on that one. But I do feel, when Trump wrote about, he was gleeful basically that Colbert was fired, and then he said Jimmy Kimmel's next. Is that a threat? Is that a promise? Is that a threatening promise? We'll find out. But it's not going to be for long. Okay. On DN Rowe, what will happen to Stephen Colbert? He survives. He survives. Let's hope he does another road show, and you know, he's a good performer. I mean, he was in Company. He did a great job. So he's a performer, he's a writer, he's a producer. He's going to be around. I'm not, you know, it's a blow when the platform people know you for is taken away, but it just means something else better is coming along. Okay. Hi, Donna. Hi, Arthur. Do you know any more about when the news of election fraud is coming out? Very soon. Very soon. The Rockland County stuff in New York is going to start bubbling over, but also like we're going to be hearing stuff about other cities, other states that are going to be finding things are not, voter logs are not adding up to the numbers. You know, and I mean, we've already seen that, you know, a lot of ballots in AOC's district voted for her, but then they also voted for Trump as president. So something's a little off there. You know, when you have a complete Democratic, you know, county that votes for Trump and not even one Republican. I mean, not one Democrat. It's a little odd. Okay. It's going to come out. Hi, Sarah Saunders. Hi, Sherry, Arthur, and Walter. Will Tom Homan be brought to justice for all of his atrocities? Thank you. Love your show. They'll probably find him, you know, I don't know, the way the guy talks, he sounds like, you know, he just had, you know, a liquid lunch with Pete's headset. He always sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth. He's going down. And the things that he's instructed ICE to do borders on being illegal. And he'll be caught for that. Okay? Thank you for mystical magic. Thank you for everything. Is Epstein still alive somewhere in another realm? He's not on this earth. He's not on this earth. And it's interesting that when they released the tapes, supposedly the raw footage from the jail cell, you know, after editing out 3+ minutes, yeah, I don't feel it was suicide. From my entertainment purposes only, but from what I get from my guides. Okay. Hi, Edel. I feel everything is a distraction for something underlying and big, missing the forest for the trees or the number 18 moon in tarot, like the movie Don't Look Up. How do you feel about this? I agree with you 100%. That's why I use the term weapons of mass distraction. Filmed by Larry Gelpart. It's hysterical. And just like Don't Look Up, you know, yeah, here's a meteor coming to crash into the earth, and they're saying, don't look at it. Like, it's like, yeah, don't look at it. Maybe it won't be real. It's like, yeah, don't look at the Epstein files. That's not real. Yeah, right. It's like, don't think about a green car. You just thought about a green car. So there's a lot going on here. It's all mass distractions. But over the next, as we get to the end of this month into September, I feel the month of August especially, there's stuff coming to the surface on a lot of this stuff. And we always felt that the end of July, there'd be stuff being released that would get, you know, lawsuits and stuff with Trump. I still feel there's lawsuits coming down with the Epstein stuff. And I still feel that, yeah, according to the guy, when I say I feel, you know, it's not me personally feeling, it's the guys telling me or smacking me in the side of the head that, listen, people, you know, that's what they say to me sometimes. But this underlying thing of, yeah, there's a lot going on here. And the thing is, even Trump is saying his people are stupid if they what? They're stupid because what? Because you said it's all Obama that started the Epstein stuff when he went to jail on your watch, under your administration. Yeah, it's just things don't just that out. But as the moon in tarot, things will be revealed. Secrets will be coming out. Hi, Patrick. So many have seen August as a pivotal month for 45, 47. Do you feel the e-files or his health that starts to demise? Both. I mean, the man's rotting on the inside. I'm sorry. Entertainment purposes only, but really, you know, that's why I read it. And also, like I just said, I do feel there's a lot of stuff more. There's more stuff coming about Epstein. In fact, there was one newscaster that said from she's fired from CBS years ago. She said we had all this stuff, and they wouldn't let us use it, and now it's all coming out. And she's like, "My God, we had this. We had this." So, the stuff comes forward again. Moon Whisper, Jimmy Kimmel stood up to Trumpolini with a few F-bombs. With the Epstein files, MAGAs are lighting their red hats on fire in the news. You were right about August, September, fingers and toes crossed. Yes. Yeah. They're getting disillusioned, because also they keep on talking about Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. They're not talking about, ooh, grandma's being taken off Medicare. What are we going to do? Or Medicaid. What are we going to do? Or people are losing housing. People are losing their food benefits. I don't want people to go crazy because it may be difficult a little bit, but it's all going to be replaced and get better. So the programs that they're ripping away, I feel they do come back and stronger and more empathetic and compassionate. Okay. Will another earthquake greater than 7.4 magnitude occur off the Russian coast? Yeah, because everybody's going to be jumping up and down when Putin goes. It's going to cause an earthquake and tsunamis. Sorry. I'm not feeling that right now. I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling out in Indian Ocean. Now I did say a while back that I felt around Oregon and Washington off in the ocean. And then we had the earthquake in Alaska. I think that was what I was feeling. I still feel there's stuff like that. I still feel there's volcanic eruptions. I don't feel Yellowstone is going to be blowing up anytime soon. They found another sinkhole apparently, but it's that's not going to blow for quite some time. Stargazer, why did Vance meet with Rupert Murdoch just before Trump sued Murdoch over the birthday greeting and drawing Trump gave to Epstein? I didn't know about this. Hold on, let me see what I get. Sometimes the party line. Hold on. I feel he may have been used by Trump to go in there and talk to him and threaten him. And Murdoch's people just said, yeah, right, whatever. Who cares? We've got the goods. Okay. And I often am asked if Trump goes down, what about Vance? I always see Vance labeled as a co-conspirator. So I don't see Vance going to become our next president. I don't see it. I never have. Whatever that's worth. Hi, Robin. What will they have on Vance and Mike Johnson to ensure they don't advance to the presidency if Trump dies or is run out of office? Wouldn't the Grassley then be next? I mean, like in Grassley Knoll? Just kidding. What would they have on him? Well, more than just bad eyelining techniques from Vance. No, I actually feel, like I said, co-conspirator. And Mike Johnson, same thing. Also, I've always felt there's something coming out about him, something very creepy. Almost like a scandal, not just money, but sex scandal. So I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Is Stephen Miller going to get fired? Okay, I'm going to get off YouTube for this, but yeah, But let's see if they ask him first. Would you like a blindfold, or would you like not to have a blindfold? Anyway, he's going down. Mystic Desert, or Desert Mystic. See, I am psychic and dyslexic. Do you see the felon leaving soon? I've always felt September, end of September. Something about the end of September, so we'll see what happens with that. Now, if the end of September and he's not gone, I'm not going to give up my YouTube channel, okay? I'm just telling you what I'm getting right now. He will eventually be gone. Debbie, do you see us having fair midterms? Yes, I do. Believe it or not. There may be pockets of confusion, but they know exactly what happened in the last election. They're not going to let it happen this time around. In fact, the Democrats are right on top of the whole thing with the gerrymandering and redistricting in Texas right now. So, they're keeping an eye on everything, believe me. The thing is, you don't hear about it. It's a quietly watching. Just like you don't hear about the fact that Biden deported more people than Trump ever has. And he didn't have to, have people chasing people through the fields to do it. Okay. Hi, Barbara. Why did Couchboy Vance pay a visit to Rupert Murdoch? I mean, what was it somebody called him? A heterosexual? Like I said earlier, I feel it's because he may have been there as a little, voice of Trump. Are you going to sue us? Because if you really have this, we're going to sue you. You're right. Go away. Hello, right? Behind the scenes in the White House, do people talk about Trump's decline? Do they see it and lie about it? Yes. It's kind of like, the guy in charge is declining, but I need a paycheck, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Basically what it boils down to. And let's see how much I can get away with before they take him away. Hi, likable person. Will food aid and relief get to Gaza? When will their nightmare end? Their nightmare ends when Netanyahu is taken down. Entertainment purposes only. They just showed me the end of September. End of September, something coming down, but actually when it gets to November, December, I really feel that's when things start easing up around them. So we'll take it from there. Okay. Lucretia, thank you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you for all you do. I don't do that much. Heaven knows I don't do Windows. It's reported Delta Airlines used AI to determine ticket prices, 3% right now, looking to go to 20%. What are they? Ticketmaster? Are they price gouging frequent wealthier travelers? There's one thing about AI. It's the other one, a program's only good at what you give, the information you give to the program. Like I said, with Ticketmaster, where, the price is just astronomically insane. $1,500 to go see a concert with someone. It's crazy. It's like 3 car payments. It's price gouging. I feel they're going to come back to somehow. That's going to be corrected. Okay. How bad do you see it getting for 45 in August 2025? The image I always get is Trump sitting there in the White House looking out the window. In the back of his head is Carrie's mother. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to laugh at you. So that's how bad it's going to get. It's going to get bad. Like I said, August into September, he's not going to. The thing is, the more he says, don't look at this, people say, oh, we're going to look. And people are realizing now that, He does not have their best interest at heart. Well, again, you have to have a heart. But thank you, Antoinette's granddaughter. Bephobins, can you see the light at the end of the tunnel or nightmares? Yeah, up until now, it's always been, oh, it's the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a bus, duck. It's a truck. Oh my God. I've always felt like sometimes it's like, that one flower in the crack in the tunnel where it's like starts burning. Like, yeah, man, the truck's coming. There will be light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not a bus. It's not a truck. It's really the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's just hope that, it's not because the mountain is destroyed and there was no more tunnel. But it's going to happen. Hi, Teresa Spriggs. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Everything does go back to the channel. So thank you so much. Anya, will certain parts of the U.S. be hit harder by food shortages, power outages, etc.? I want to say yes to this. As far as power outages, I always see the grid in Texas going down. And some of the southern states. Red states, perhaps. And as far as the food shortages, I feel the food's going to be there. It's just that it's going to be expensive. And, or, we have food rotting in the fields right now. Like all the food that USAID did not deliver over the last couple months has been destroyed. Well, when it comes to throwing out food, now, isn't that a sin? You godly white Christian nationalists? Just saying. Thank you for doing this, Sean. Thank you. Do you still feel something major with this administration falling apart in September? Yes, I do. I just said it earlier. Yes. Yep. We will find out that weebles do wobble and they do fall down. That's what Trump reminds me of, a big weeble. Hi, Jill. Will Stephen Colbert take sweet revenge on the Orange Menace for the next 10 months or what, as always? I don't think it's going to be so much as revenge as putting the truth out there in such a way that people can't ignore it. How to get revenge? By sticking around. And that's what he's going to do. Hi, Spirit Animal. Why did Vance fly to Murdoch's ranch recently in Montana? It wasn't going to a fat farm. Do you think Vance and Murdoch plotted the release of the birthday letter, or did Vance try to dissuade Rupert Murdoch from doing so? I feel it's the latter. Because, people ask me, well, what about, 25th Amendment? Well, the vice president has to bring that up. Then the rest of the cabinet has to agree with it. But the rest of the cabinet is not going to agree with that. Even though I feel Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are soon going to be thrown under the bus. Kash Patel will probably eventually notice it because it's a bus axle over my head. And Pete Hegseth, I feel, is going to be going, but I don't feel they're going to be voting to oust him anytime soon. So I do feel it's basically, like I said, use Vance as Trump's mouthpiece. Because then he didn't put on Truth Social something about if they had it, they would have released it, and Trump probably was going, don't release it, it's true. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be fun. As I always said, I should have, I don't do stocks that much, but I should have gotten stock in popcorn. When everybody gets their popcorn. Tapioca thievery. Do you see martial law being declared anywhere in the U.S.? I always felt something about Texas and possibly Arizona. but it's brief. It's not. I mean, really brief. It's just maybe for a couple hours. Because basically what they did here in Los Angeles, that wasn't martial law, but it was bringing the military, the Marines, over U.S. citizens. Hi, Bree. What do you see for ACO's future? Maybe VP. Thanks so much. I always thought AOC. You mean AOC? So I always felt AOC is as a Speaker of the House, like the next Nancy Pelosi. That I've always seen for her. That's her destiny. Is the way I read it. Okay, that's what they always showed me. Jackie Frazier, hi. Kamala canceled her vacation this month. Does this mean there's a big political shakeup and she may take her rightful place as president? What I'm just getting right this second is there's something to this, that there may be something coming down that's why she canceled her vacation. However, what I've always felt is when the felon is removed, Mike Johnson also goes, and Vance is gone. So that leaves the Speaker of the House, which will be blue, which I've always read as, I've said this before, as Hakeem Jeffries, but I don't feel him as be more like a figurehead of a committee. So I feel it'll be ex-presidents. I feel Kamala Harris will be involved. I feel people like Lawrence Tribe, Jamie Raskin, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, things of that nature. I feel this is a committee that's going to be putting, plugging all the holes and replacing things what this administration tried to destroy and build back better. Okay, so that's how I see it. So, okay. Is Vance plotting to overthrow Trump? Is that why he met with Bert? No, I don't feel so. I don't feel he's planning to overthrow Trump. He's ambitious, yes, but I feel he himself knows he cannot handle that job. So I don't feel he's plot. We all plot. Hey, I check on my Halo every day, but I don't feel he's. Yeah, but mine more is more like looking out the window, squishing people's heads. Like, remember kids in the hall. But yeah, the whole thing with Vance and Murdoch, yeah. Unless he was trying to get him to be like a spokesperson for Maybelline, who knows? Annie, I hope you're well physically. Will we ever see the Epstein files or Trump's medical records? Thanks. Eventually. People have asked me if things will be destroyed or have been destroyed. I said, of course they have been. But then again, in this day and age, everything's digital. So it really doesn't matter. But medical records, he's got the greatest, the healthiest president who's ever lived, right? And then that one doctor said something and then he ended up dead. So you gotta think of that. A lot of people ended up not alive connected to Trump. So just saying for a friend. Witchy Gardens, hi. Will PBS figure out how to fund themselves since Republicans are stripping PBS? Thank you. Yes. Actually, I feel there's going to be a lot of people coming forward, philanthropists, grants, things of that nature, Mellon Foundation, things, organizations, family money, and things like that. They already do a lot for public broadcasting. I don't think people realize to the full extent that public broadcasting does. I mean, if there's that's who you turn to in case there's, some type of warnings and stuff like that. But again, the new PBS, if Trump had anything to do, they were saying, don't look up. There's nothing there to see. I don't feel PBS is going to be dead. Okay, I'll put it that way. I don't see it. Firefly 45 is suing Murdoch, who owns the Wall Street Journal and Fox News, for the birthday card article. Do you think Murdoch will win? Do you think Fox News may change? Well, Trump is going after for defamation. And about Murdoch winning, I feel he's not going to win money from Trump, but he's not going to have to pay Trump anything. And I do feel, Rupert Murdoch is not going to live to 197. So, and he's pretty up there now. So once he's no longer around, I feel the family divides up the quote unquote news organization. Because remember when they were being sued, they said, we're not news, we're entertainment. So that's why I say, yeah, entertainment purposes only. But yeah, I do feel Fox may change. Okay. Is anyone going to stop Netanyahu from unavailing people just to avoid accountability? Eventually, yes. Yes. It's like, the way I look at it is the same energy that when Trump was trying to become president so that he wouldn't have to get in trouble with felons. Netanyahu's doing the same thing. But you can only get away with something like that for so long. And I feel his own people are starting to we're over him. Okay? There will be accountability. Okay, so thank you. What is going to happen with the losses in trans rights after the Dems are back in control? Anything that is taken away and lost will be replaced. And the way the Republicans have, they've made, look, years ago, it was Afro-American Black people. Then all of a sudden it became gay people. Now all of a sudden it's trans people. They always have to have a boogeyman, just like in Nazi Germany had the Jews. But the problem is in Germany, the Jews, they said the problem was they had money and they had power. So they're just making sure that trans people are just, cut off at the knees. But I've always said that as this administration goes away, the words compassion and empathy become part of our collective again. So things that were lost will be replaced. Or, okay. Will Ms. Maxwell release the list? No. I think she likes her head being attached to her body. And this whole thing about will Trump pardon her? I don't see that happening. Again, because when someone's pardoned and there's a committee in Congress, they can't take the fifth. They have to tell the truth, supposedly. But I don't know if these people know the truth or not. I feel there's something going down with her but I don't see her being able to release the list. Okay, take it from there. Arthur, in your wildest dreams, could you imagine what it would be, MAGA, to take Trump down? Hope it is not NLV. They stop drinking Kool-Aid and start drinking V8s in the morning. That'll be a good one. They're going to start seeing that they're lied to, you know, and every time Trump's back is to the wall, he's always saying, "Oh, it's Biden's fault. It's Obama. It's George Soros." Yeah, that only lasts so long. That dialogue can only last so long. It gets old, especially when there are no facts to back it up. So it's going to be a pretty day. Oh, I saw this one too, Lauren. Trump is demanding that the Washington Commanders change their name back to Redskins, or he will not allow their stadium to be built in D.C. Will he win, or will they stand up to him? They're going to stand up to him. I don't feel them changing the name. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm seeing it right now. Besides that, calling them the Redskins is kind of racist. That's why they changed it to begin with. So we'll see. Are Rachel Maddow and Stephen Colbert actually teaming up? Oh, good question. I'm not getting a clear answer on yes or no. I feel there's been communication between the two of them, but I don't see they're like, "Hey, buddy, let's do this." But I feel they're aware of what each other will be doing, so it'll be a right-left punch. Yay! Will the Affordable Care Act be taken down? No. Parts of it they're going to try and dismantle. What they've been trying for the last, gazillion years to do. Thank God for John McCain. But I said earlier, anything they try and get rid of, it's not going to work. Okay. Besides that, they don't have anything to replace it with. Hi, Arthur. Sherry and Walter. I was like, who's Sherry Walter? Will CRISPR technology increase the world's population as people may live longer? I'm not really familiar with all the CRISPR technology that they talk about. Gene splicing and all that other stuff. I want to say yes to it, but it's also what I'm getting here is it's also quality of life that's improved. So that may lead to people living longer, but it's also quality of life. But at this point, can we afford it? But we'll see what happens. Barbara, next year will our country have a huge celebration for our 250th birthday with the exit of the Orange regime? No, we're going to have the stadium, and they're going to have the USC fighters on the lawn. Yeah. I don't see that happening. All the stuff Trump keeps on talking about. I don't see gallows in the future either, but there'll be a good celebration coming up. Yeah. I keep on hearing ding dong, the witch is dead. So let's take it from there. Hello all. Now that MAGA is starting to see the real Trump, they're going to be so mad. Question: how sound we deal with our MAGA families during this time? How should we deal with our MAGA family this time? I wouldn't gloat. I would just state fact. But I wouldn't bring it up until they bring it up, which they will anyway. But I would just state fact and not make a big deal of it. Just like, go sit at the kids' table. It's Thanksgiving. Shut up. MGG. Happy day. How many copies of the Epstein list are in existence? Thank you. Well, I don't think there's a quote unquote official list per se. Just like it's not like there's a, the official flight log for the Elite Express with Trump's name on it every other day. There are lists, various versions of it. But I feel the one thing is that the Republicans were trying to do is, put all the Democrats on the list and, block out every Republican's name. But some of these may be the donors of the Republicans that may be involved with this. So that's why they're doing what they're doing, trying to keep it hidden. It's going to come to start. You can't hide everything. It always comes forward. The intelligence of the 45's administration is going after Obama for treason for 2016 election. What would be the outcome of this? Can we sync up the laugh track right now, please? Yeah, you can do it from Lucy. Yeah, laugh track. That's what I get. Bandy is having the FBI going through the Epstein files and flag 45. Why? You have to ask why? She doesn't want her daddy being found out that he's a pedophile. Did I say that out loud? Entertainment purposes only. Because she was told to. Will Don Jr.'s ex secretly give info to anyone regarding voter manipulation during the last president election? No. He should have come forward. I don't think anybody cares. It's like, really? She's in the lobby? No. Just let her sit there. We're not interested. Yeah, for some reason, I don't see her like talking to Laura Loomer about this either. How soon are the concentration camps in New Jersey and Michigan opening? Will all 50 states have one? No. Yeah, I read about this too. No. Alligator, Alcatraz, or Auschwitz, whatever you want to call it, that's not going to be around for long. And these other concentration camps, what are they, $450 million each? Gee, whose contractor friends got paid this? And they're going up, look, the Alcatraz went up in, a couple weeks? Yeah. Sure they got permits and everything for that one. I don't see it happening. I don't see them opening them. If they try, I see them being closed. Hi, Bonnie. As far as election interference, do you have any more clarification on when those working on revealing the truth will come out with the information and decertify this presidency? By the end of the year. By the end of the year is what I just heard. Okay. How will George Santos handle prison? He's already starting a drag show. Is he supposed to report soon? I saw him whining on an interview saying he lived a sheltered life and jail will kill him. A sheltered life? Are you kidding? That's called sheltered? No, he lived the life of a con artist and a scammer. What is the fate of 2025 after Trump and Vance? A cautionary tale of what never to happen again. That's what the fate of 2025 is. Hi, Kelly. Cuomo is running as an independent against Madami. We know he doesn't necessarily get along with the felon, but do you see them working together behind the scenes to ensure the Madami loss? I don't see Cuomo talking to Trump. Oh, I do not see that. I do not see that. People have asked me who's going to win. I'm not sure on this one. All I kept on hearing was Democrat, but then someone said, well, there could be an independent that runs with Democrats. It's like, we'll see. It's not a Republican, okay? Put it that way. Hi, Water Lily. When will legacy media start reporting on Felon 45's physical and mental health, as well as the corruption? When they figure out whatever they put out there, if it's going to make money for the shareholders. So if reporting that there's trouble physically with 45 and mental issues, and it'll make money for the shareholders, then yeah, they'll start reporting it. Okay, what else we have here? Will Melania get deported or get in any trouble over anything she has been criminally involved with? Well, as I said, this just proves that some immigrants will do jobs that Americans will not do. I have a feeling, yeah, she's done things. I don't think they're getting deported, but she's done things. She may leave the country though. But I also feel that she can be with a new boyfriend, entertainment purposes only. I get she's offered a deal to squeal. Like I said, I always get this whole, when he goes down, there'll be in the history books, the category will be name of the chapter, The Art of the Squeal. Who gets what deal? We will see. It won't be like, Ned Beatty from Deliverance. Will David Ellison get in trouble with the next FCC? I have to be honest with you, I'm not sure who this is. At least right this second. It's not coming to me. All I heard was the word possibly. We'll take it from there. Okay. I really can't answer that. So I'll just say possibly. That's what I heard. How about Arnie, the governor, coming back to help after Trumpty Dumpty might be a new no. I don't see him like replacing Gavin Newsom. Please, I'll be back. No, I don't think so. No, maybe I'll have a reality show. Who knows? Hi, Cindy L. Jan Chapman. Why didn't Biden, Merrick Garland release the Epstein files when it could? What I'm getting here is because the names of the victims. Names of the victims and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I got. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Will the midterms be a free and fair election? The felon is already setting up for them to be fixed. He's not going to be around long enough for them to be fixed, okay? They will be fair and free. Free and fair. Will there be another pandemic? Not like it was. I mean, the new strain of, and people are still getting COVID these days, but not as intense. But another illness. To be honest with you, what I keep on hearing and seeing, measles. Why did Kamala cancel her vacation to Hawaii? Like I said earlier, I feel she may have decided to stick around because of certain things that she was told. Okay. I think we have time for one. Oh, it's 4:40. We went over time. Let's do one more question. Hi, Julie. Rachel Maddow uncovered Trump and Musk plan to privatize Social Security. They aren't going to get our 2.6 trillion savings. Well, no. Anytime they want to privatize, that means somebody's going to make money off of us. So no, ain't going to happen. So I don't think it's going to be there long enough for even to follow through with that. So it's not going to happen. Okay. I mean, there'll be a lot of people from getting their little rides from the scooter store and running over that man if that were to happen. So, especially in Florida. All right. Well, okay. 1827 in the room. Thank you for coming by, people. It's Sunday, and I really appreciate you guys being here. We're going to get through this. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for the super stickers, everything else. And I feel like a high school substitute teacher because I'll say your name really wrong and everyone will snicker. So I apologize. But thank you. So the big thing is, again, keep vigilant with everything. Do the 5calls.org. Do the Congressional Switchboard, 202-224-3121. Goods Unite Us. Truth Election Alliance. And also, we'll be doing an event in September with Valerie, so you can sign up for that. Also, check out the guided meditations, especially the one for embracing Mercury retrograde. Also, how to feng shui a car. So, and if you need to get a hold of me, ArthurEaseYourMind.com. I do have openings for readings and stuff like that in August, September, October, November, December. Yeah. I'm only doing 3 months in advance, so I do have time and openings. So check that out if you need me. In the meantime, thank you, Walter. Thank you, Sherry, for being in the background. And thank you all for stopping by. I really, really appreciate every one of you. It means the world to me. And when I say I love you, I do mean it. I have no friends. I have no family. So this is nice. And just watch the news. But again, think of everything as it's only an acorn, Chicken Little. Okay? The one thing about being a psychic is when people say how and when. It's like, oh, just let it happen. Just let it happen. Just know it's going to happen. Keep the faith. And as I always say, we put out manifestations for like the good jobs, this, that, whatever. Well, let's put out some manifestation that we're living in democracy again. Let's manifest that, all of us together, while we're putting out love and light till they get it right. All right? So thank you all for being here. I've been a little silly, but it's who I am. And the nuns never appreciated me. So I hope you do. And so that's it. So again, as I always say, take care of yourself, take care of others, call your representatives, be vigilant, and we're going to get through this, people. So have fun, take care of everyone else. All right? And stay amazing. Thank you all. Bye-bye.